You did go to college for a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so talk about like your schooling experience and like how everything basically like happened.
Okay, at LSU, that's where I went. We started school in August.
And how many followers were you at that time?
I'm gonna say probably like 300K.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I would assumed it would have been like a few million at this point.
No.
So when did you ultimately make the decision to drop out then?
We used the word resign.
When did you decide to resign from college?
My first trip to LA after all this started happening was the end of September. So before I hit 1 million. Famous Birthdays reached out to me and they were like, we would love to have you in the office. Like, do you live close? And I was like, sure, I live close. Like,
Yeah.
of course, like, yeah. So I flew out here. I was only here for 4 days because it was over the weekend and I obviously had college. Went to Famous Birthdays, did my little interview thing. The Sunday that I was leaving, I ended up meeting like Taylor and Bryce and randomly. And Chase. Chase was the one who texted me. Me, my mom, and Chase went eat and he kind of just like.
Went eat?
Yeah.
Went to eat?
Okay, maybe that's a Louisiana thing. I don't know, Louisiana people don't really have a bunch of like vocabulary.
We went eat?
We went eat.
We went to eat.
He was talking to me about like what I want to do and like where I want to take this and I was kind of like, what the heck? Like, what do you mean where do I want to take this? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think that was a possibility to like make it anything more than what it was at the moment. And so ended up going back and like meeting everyone. And then they ended up being like, hey, you should totally come back next weekend and like just hang out with us and like we want to just get to know you better. And I was like, I'm in college, but like my birthday's next weekend, so like maybe that's like an excuse.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Fine, I will. I got an Airbnb and I came back the next weekend.
Did you really? Oh my god.
Yeah, like it was just like, I just like, you know what? Yeah. So it was just like literally just happening so fast. And so I kept coming back and forth and then finally December comes around and I'm like, you know what? I think I want to move here. So I ended up moving in.
To the Hype House?
No.
Oh.
Speaking of the Hype House, I met Thomas at Taylor's house.
Okay.
And like it was one day we were just all hanging out randomly and I met Thomas and he was like, hey, I have this idea about like a house and we all would live in it and like collab. And I was like, yeah, totally. I was like, what the heck is this guy talking about? and so he kept talking about it and finally they buy the house and we're like, you know what, let's just like, I'm just gonna go see it. You know what I mean? Time goes by and the first Hype House photo shoot happens. And Thomas called me and said, hey, Bryant is shooting our photo shoot. And I had just shot with Bryant for my first time ever.
I love this full story time that we're getting right now.
And he was like, Bryant's shooting it, and Bryant called me and was like, hey Addison, if you want to come, you can, you know, like I'm willing to shoot you too. And I was like, sure. So I went and Thomas was like, bring jeans and a white top just in case. And I was like, okay. And he was like, if you decide that you want to be in some photos with the Hype House, you can. And I was like, okay, like maybe, you know. So I got there and I ended up being like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna be in the pictures. I wasn't even like sure that I was committing to being in the Hype House, but it was kind of just like, okay, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna just go for it. And it kind of like stuck my ground and like, you know, being a part of the Hype House just by being in that first photo shoot.
It was
and,
like the establishing moment.
Exactly. So like it just happened. Like it didn't even mean, it wasn't even like on intentionally or anything. It was just like, so I was in the photos and then that's when the Hype House began. It was like, you know what?
That's when you, what was the word you used?
Resigned.
That's when you resigned.
That's when I resigned and decided to pursue other dreams.
Yeah, that's so cool. I really appreciate the